Hello and welcome to the Week 14 recap video. I'm going to do something a little different. This week I've got, due to time constraints, I've got to put the Week 15 predictions at the end of this video. So I'm just going to do one video and get it out there. Part of the problem is, there's only one game next week. It is a huge game in my opinion, always is. Not really got much implications, but it's always an important game to me. So I'm going to go ahead and put that at the end of this video. So it's going to be a little lengthier video this time around than it normally is. So let's go right into it. Northern Illinois at Buffalo, the MAC championship. I had Buffalo winning this game, but Northern Illinois pulled out the surprise and got the win. Next was number 17, Utah at number 11, Washington, the Pac-12 championship. This was a rematch of a game earlier in the season. I had Washington winning this one, and with a score of 10-3, they did. It was honestly the lowest scoring of the Power 5 conferences championships, so I was really interested in saying that. Next was number 14, Texas at number 5, Oklahoma at it was the Big 12 championship game. I had Oklahoma winning this game, and they did. Texas did keep it close to the end, much like the last game. But Oklahoma comes away with the 12-point victory, redeeming their only loss of the season. Next was Drake at number 23, Iowa State. I had Iowa State winning this game, and they did. However, Drake kept it really, really close. Next was Louisiana at Appalachian State, the Sun Belt Conference Championship. I had Appalachian State winning this game, and they did pretty handily, 30-19. It was close throughout the first half, but they started to pull away at the end. East Carolina at NC State. I had NC State winning this game, and they did pretty handily. If I remember, it was like 58-3 or something like that. Next was Akron at South Carolina. I had South Carolina winning this game. They did pretty much put Akron away. Next was Marshall at Virginia Tech. I had Virginia Tech winning this one, and they did. Marshall put up 20 points, 21 points, and I think Virginia Tech put up 41. So, almost doubled their score. Next was UAB at Middle Tennessee, the Conference USA Championship. I had Middle Tennessee winning this game, seeing as Middle Tennessee and UAB had played the week before, and Middle Tennessee had come away with a big win. I thought they'd get a win, but it might be closer. It was closer this time, but UAB pulls out the 27-25 victory and gets the conference title in only their second year back from having dismantled the program and restarted it. Next was Norfolk State at Liberty. I picked Liberty to win this one, and they did, finishing their season on a win here, and I believe that puts them at bowl eligibility 6-6. Next was Stanford at Cal. I had Stanford winning this game, even though they were on the road, and they did by 10 points. I believe the final was 23-13. It was a good game. Next was Memphis at number 8, UCF, the AAC championship game. I picked Memphis to win this one because I didn't know much about UCF's backup quarterback. I just knew that they were without their starter who had gotten them to the undefeated season 2 years in a row. That being said, UCF pulls off the win on a come from behind, and their backup quarterback shined in this game. Scored, I believe, 6 total touchdowns. Would have been 7, but he fumbled the ball on his way into the end zone, and one of his teammates recovered it for the touchdown. So, he did wonders for them this game. And UCF keeps their win streak alive. It's 25 consecutive wins now, which ties them on, which actually puts them on the list for the highest win streaks. Next on the list was number 1 Alabama at number 4 Georgia, the SEC championship game. I had Alabama winning this game. It was close though. Alabama came from behind again on Georgia and gets the win. This time in regular time. But honestly, there were 2 questionable calls that led to this. First of all, it was 28-14. Georgia's driving the ball into Alabama territory. They've got the ball at like the Alabama 20-yard line, and they're well within field goal range, and Kirby Smart decides to go for it on 4th down instead of kicking the field goal. I questioned that call because it seems like you're playing scared. It seems like you're afraid Alabama's going to come back on you, which, when you play Alabama that way, guess what? They come back on you. If you play them smart and kick the field goal there, go 31-28, it avoids a lot of problems. Problems that surfaced again late in the game, 2 minutes left. Georgia has the ball at the 50-yard line, 4th down. They could punt the ball away. They're tied 28-28. And he goes for a fake punt. If he had kicked the field goal earlier in the game, it would have been 31-28 at that point, and he would not have even thought twice. He would have punted the ball. And since Alabama was on their backup quarterback at the time, who is still Jalen Hurts, a guy who's taken them to a national championship, so it's not like they're crippled on their backup quarterback. But Georgia, I honestly think at that point they would have been like, yeah, no, we'll take our chances, make Jalen Hurts, who's not played all season, go the length of the field. But instead, they didn't, and it set up Alabama with short field, and Jalen Hurts pretty much walks into the end zone for the game-winning touchdown. A lot of questionable decisions by Kirby Smart. It's like he played the first half of the game unafraid of Alabama, and then played the second half afraid to lose the lead. When you play afraid to lose the lead, when you coach like you're afraid to lose the lead, you're going to lose the lead. It just was bad coaching on Georgia's behalf. That being said, great coaching on Alabama's half. He got his kids to believe, never give up. They stayed with it the entire time. They were down 21-7 at one point. So, I mean, if there were ever any question of Alabama maybe being poorly coached, which, if anybody ever was questioning that, you got to look at them like they're stupid. It was answered definitely here. It was shown how good of a coach Nick Saban is. He can get his guys down 21-7 to believe we can win every single time. And they're not in that, especially when they're not in that position very often at all. Like maybe once every 2 or 3 seasons. So to have it happen back-to-back seasons against the same opponent, it's impressive. It's impressive coaching. Next on the list is number 25, Fresno State, at number 22, Boise State, the Mountain West Conference Championship. I had Boise State winning this one, but Fresno got the overtime 19-16 win to take the conference. This was a rematch not only of an earlier game earlier in the season, but also a rematch of the Mountain West Conference the season before. So looking at the track record, Fresno won the regular season game last year, and then Boise State won the conference the year before, and then Boise beat them again this season, and I was thinking maybe Fresno's just going to go 3 for 2, but turns out they swapped. It seems like if you win the regular season here, you don't win the conference matchup. But Fresno State got the win and won the Mountain West. Next was number 2 Clemson and Pitt in the ACC championship game. I had Clemson winning this one, and they did, really no question, 42-10. Open and shut. And last but not least, number 21 Northwestern at number 6 Ohio State, the Big Ten championship game, conference championship there. I had Ohio State winning this one. They did. They pulled ahead late in the game, but really, it was really late, and there were a few scores in there that make it look worse than it actually was. Northwestern hung with them for 3 quarters. And like always seems to happen with Ohio State, they wake up in the 4th and realize, oh, we're Ohio State, and start playing like it. And I think in the end that's what kept them out of the playoffs. Because the playoffs are set up now. It's number 1 versus number 4, Alabama versus Oklahoma, and number 2 versus number 3, Clemson versus Notre Dame. So I think the reason Oklahoma moved up is because since Georgia vacated the 4th spot, it was between Oklahoma and Ohio State. And I got to be honest with you, Oklahoma has the better record here, in my opinion. Even though they're both 12-1 conference champions, Oklahoma redeemed their one loss. They lost to Texas in the regular season and then beat them in the conference championship. Ohio State lost to Purdue badly. And that's another thing. The Oklahoma's loss to Texas was a 3-point loss on a last-second field goal. Ohio State got their butts whooped by Purdue, and then come into the conference championship and let Northwestern hang around for 3 quarters, only to bury them in the 4th. I get that they buried them, and they won by more than Oklahoma did, but Oklahoma was playing a higher-ranked opponent with a better record, and a team that beat them already once. It was a redemption game for Oklahoma, and they won by 12 points. So that's a fairly competent win. I just feel like the track record between the two was a little more in favor of Oklahoma, which is apparently what the committee thought. So that's it for the predictions. I got 12 of the 16 games correct on week 14, which puts me at 75% on the week. Exactly, I have 213 out of 273 overall games that matter on the season correct, which is a 78% correct rate. There's one more game left. I'm going to get to that in just a second, but I want to go over my week 14. You already know the totals, but I am currently sitting at 75.2% correct rate if I get the Army-Navy game wrong. If I get it right, my overall correct for the entire season, every single game, all 844 games, my correct rate would be 75.4. So I'm between a 75.2 or 75.4 if I get depending on whether I get the Army-Navy game correct. So, welcome to the Week 15 predictions. I'm going to jump into this in a little bit. I like to give a little preface to this game, hence why this is going to be a little longer. Army-Navy game, the reason it's one of my favorite games, and if I weren't working tomorrow, I would be sitting at home watching this game, because the Army-Navy game is always fun. And it's not just fun because, oh, it's a good game, because there have been seasons where it's been a blowout by Navy. But I enjoy the game because it's a return to it's a level of respect in the thing. Oh, they absolutely hate each other and they want to beat each other to smithereens, don't get me wrong. But there's this level of mutual respect between the two teams, and just a respect from everyone around. It's not your typical rivalry. You aren't going to see fights break out in the Army-Navy game. That's not why you tune in. It's not a bitter rivalry in that sense. It's a bitter rivalry in that they don't like each other. But you can, it's one of those things I like to point to, is that you cannot like each other and still be respectful and respect each other. So I mean, it's one of my favorite games from that standpoint. Also, it's the armed forces, it's Army, it's Navy, it's one of the big games to me every year, and I absolutely love that the NCAA has let them have their own week. Like, technically, the end of the season is supposed to be the week 14, and they pencil in an extra week just so that Army Navy can have their weekend for the game. Now, time to get into the meaty part of this video, the prediction. Being a Notre Dame fan, we tend to play Navy every year, and we tend to play Army quite a bit. It's been interesting to see the shift, the rather rapid shift, because there was a point there where I think Navy had won 12 straight, and then Army gets the upset win, and all of a sudden, Army's on like a 3 or 4 game win streak in the series. And I don't see that changing. With a 2-9 Navy team and a 9-2 Army team, I gotta go with Army. I got Army here winning their, I think, 4th or 5th straight. And at the rate things are going, this is Army's, I believe, second attempt at a 10-win season in the last 2 years, which is great. I love seeing the armed forces have success. It's a pity that Navy has had such a bad season, but I would love for there to be a point where these two could play again, and it's the winner gets a 10-win season, the other gets a 9-win season. Just another one of those, like, really important, because it's always a fun game. Like I said, it's one of the games I love the most. There's this one. It's Notre Dame, USC, Ohio State, Michigan, all the big rivalries. This is honestly, in my opinion, one of the biggest rivalries, deserving to be mentioned in the same breath as the game, Michigan and Ohio State, or the Notre Dame USC rivalry, or even Alabama Auburn, and even some of the other biggest rivalries you can think of. I think this one's right up there with that, and I love that it gets its own weekend. So that's it for the video. Like I said, I'm sorry I had to cram them both together, but hey, it's just time saver for me. I got a lot going on this weekend, so if you guys like what I'm doing, don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button, and don't forget to leave a comment below. Let me know, who do you got winning the playoffs? I'm going to be coming back after the weekend with not just my Week 15 recap video, but also with the probably playoff predictions as well as Heisman predictions. I'm going to try and cram a Heisman prediction video in there. I may do that with the Week 15 recap. But like I said, I'm going to do my bowl predictions and my playoff predictions. And I can't wait to see you guys in the next video.